freue mich, dass ihr alle wieder da seid, weil heute haben wir eine unglaublich interessante Sendung. Wir werden heute mit dem Stefanos Tsitsipas reden. Da freue ich mich unglaublich drauf. Wir werden mit einem unglaublich renommierten Virologen sprechen, mit dem Professor Dr. Franz Wiesbau. Er wird uns alles über den Virus erzählen, was es beim Tennis betrifft, worauf wir aufpassen müssen. Wir werden dann auch sprechen und bekannt geben, wer das Gewinnspiel gewonnen hat. And now we're gonna have Stefanos later in the show, so as a courtesy to Stefanos that he can understand everything, we will talk English even with Dominic today. Dominic, how are you? Everything good?
Well, everything good, and you?
Yeah, I'm great, but you're looking much better. Nice glasses.
Thanks.
We have Stefanos in the show today, and it's a big honor for us. And I thought, who else could better tell us something and introduce Stefanos to us than you?
Well, I mean, it's amazing that he takes part of your live show, and I'm really happy about it. And of course, also super happy to see him on the live video. And yeah, we've got a lot in common, I guess. We already many legendary matches against each other. Also, some great time together off the court. He's a great guy, amazing player, and unfortunately, the tour has a break now, but I'm really looking forward to see him again and to fight out more battles.
You had two great battles last year. Beijing, I think, was in the finals. You won that one, and then Stefanos won the one at the ATP finals. Two great matches.
Yeah, I would exchange that if it's possible.
Okay.
But no, were two great matches. I think we had a great form, both of us, towards the end of the season, and was a great fun to compete with him, especially when we were both playing good. But also before already, we had good matches. I think the first one was 2018 in Doha.
Yeah.
And from back then, a nice rivalry began.
I know you like him a lot and like the way he plays. What do you like most about him? Is there some part of his game you think like, wow, that's really super cool?
Yeah, I think his forehand is amazing.
Okay.
It's pretty unique technique. I think he has a very open grip, and it's not nice if you go to his forehand in a match, I can tell you that.
So you try to go to his backhand as much as possible. It's not a secret.
Yeah, it's no, you can know that, Stefanos.
I'm gonna call Stefanos now. Is there any question you have or something you want to tell him?
No, he should tell everything. I mean, it's fine.
So you're gonna watch it?
Of course, yeah.
Of course. Put some comments down if you have any questions, Dominic.
I will, for sure.
Thank you very much for your time. It was great seeing you, and have a great evening, Dominic. See you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, you too. Enjoy. Ciao.
Thank you. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.
It was also really nice to talk English with Dominic for once in a while, because usually Dominic and me, obviously we speak German. It's actually even more than, it's not even German. There is some accent we speak. So he speaks Austrian, I speak Bavarian, but speaking English is very nice, especially as a courtesy to our special guest today, Stefanos Tsitsipas.
I am here.
Stefanos.
I am here.
I'm super happy you're here. Thanks from all our community here in Austria and Germany. How are you doing? Where are you staying, and how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm here in south of France. Great weather. Not that many people. I'm in the Academy of Muratoglu. So yeah, I try to stay in shape, try to get some fitness in on a daily basis. Trying to stay active as much as possible, go for some walks, in the forest, and just spend quality time with my family.
How much tennis do you play at the moment?
I don't really play that much. I haven't really started yet. So I'm gonna see how the situation is gonna evolve throughout the next couple of weeks, and I'm most likely to step out on the court in a couple of days from now. Because the environment, as I said, is the environment here is quite protected. People don't understand that. We're in the academy. We're alone. We're like 8 people, so no one is allowed to come in. No one is allowed to come out. So it's pretty safe, I would say, in our case.
Is it even? I mean, the situation obviously is not perfect at the moment, but is it also a chance to relax a little bit and calm down and maybe do things you wouldn't do if you were on tour?
Sure. Yeah. I've been taking a lot of photos lately. You know, I mean, I think
Okay.
most people are aware that I like doing
Yeah.
that. So I take a lot of photos, try to come with different ideas. Um, Even like I've spent a lot of time when I like on the internet digitally growing not so much my brand, but trying to find alternative ways of doing things. And it's been quite interesting so far. I've made a lot of progress, a lot of job. I put a lot of job in to kind of understand branding, marketing, and all that stuff. It's quite interesting. I've been speaking a lot to my agents,
Yeah.
trying to come up with different creative things, kind of like bring the community closer and have people involved in many things, in which is it's something that I really enjoy doing with people. So yeah, ideas, they come in all the time, and I'm just in a situation where I'm not really so much relaxing right now. It's not that
Hmm.
I'm just watching, spending my time watching TV all day long or just not being productive. I really like to be productive. I guess as you like
Yeah.
doing the Instagram live, which is very
So,
productive actually.
so you keep yourself busy and you try to find things out. You're having a great podcast, by the way. It's called A Greek Abroad. I was
Oh,
listening to
thank
it.
you. Thank you.
Who came? Who had the idea? Was it yourself or was somebody in
I
your
was
team
myself.
around?
I came up with a podcast. Yeah. You know, before that, I used to spend many hours listening to different podcasts,
Yeah.
and I always wondered like what does it take to create your own podcast? So I looked it up online. As you know, I'm a online kind of like I'm an internet geek. I know most of the
Yeah.
things. So I looked it up, and there's this app called Anchor, which allows you to distribute all. You can start
Hmm.
your own podcast, and it distributes your podcast to different platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Overcast, Stitcher, and all these different platforms where people can listen to your podcast. So that's how I discovered podcasting, and it's great. I mean, I give the opportunity to people to
Hmm.
kind of uh, get a closer look, a more highlighted version of myself, in which I get to provide them with different, information, talk about my life, talk about my experiences, the ones I live every single day.
It's super interesting that you say it because, like, I found out pretty quickly you're a special player, but you're also like a very interesting personality. Like you say, you try
Thank
to
you.
keep active. There was a very funny part in your podcast. It was called Der wilde Grieche. You remember that one?
When
Wilder,
was that? Which
wilder
podcast?
Grieche. That's how we called you in Germany, like the wild Greek. When you
The Wild Greek.
found
Yeah, yeah.
out that, like,
Sure.
did you
I
like the
am
wild
wild.
Greek part? That's how we call you.
Yeah, I am wild. I have to agree with that. Very wild.
What do you like more? You like more your podcast or the video blogs you did? Because the video blogs, like, they're unbelievable. They're on YouTube on your page. I mean, most of the guys know it, but who hasn't seen it, you have to watch it out. I mean, it's fantastic.
Oh, thank you. It's so much fun doing them. Uh, it's like it fulfills me so much doing these vlogs. I feel so much satisfaction because it in a way it feels like I'm painting, I'm drawing, and I'm not
Yeah.
good at drawing. I'm really bad at it. So that's my alternative to that. Video editing and just all these effects. It is just there's so much vibrancy to it.
Yeah.
It's just so you add life to it, and you can always display a better version of life, even if it's not. It's like very artistic, I believe, and I just I like to have an outlook of life this way.
Yeah.
It's just it is there's just it's so positive in general.
So it's like your way to express a little bit yourself and like to,
Exactly, yeah.
yeah, it's fantastic. And is the traveling part something you really like about being a professional tennis player?
Traveling part, yeah, sure. Sometimes it gets tiring. I don't know for you as well, right? You're still coaching, right?
Yeah, I'm still, but I like the traveling. I like everything.
You like to
about it.
travel.
I like the
I like to
game.
travel too. I like to travel too. Sometimes it's difficult. I believe like I feel like once you do like the same thing over and over again, it kind of like you get used to it. You want something different. I guess it's normal. Humans are like all of us get not bored, but tired of doing the same process, just following the same process over and over again. So I think sometimes it's just good to go to other places. Something that I've done outside my tennis. of course, I like traveling. I like exploring all the different places. The problem is that I don't have time to get to see most of the places that I am at because I'm competing and playing.
No, that's
Like
the
I've
problem
been
we
to
have.
such an amazing places. You
The
know, I
better you
haven't been.
play, the less time
I've
you
played
have.
Indian Wells. I've played Indian Wells 3 times. Never had the opportunity to go to LA. Never. This year was the first time.
But
Because of the.
did you go hiking in Indian Wells, for example, like the small hills? Like hiking is unbelievable in Indian Wells.
I went once. I went only once. That was
Okay.
on my day off.
Did you go to San Diego at least? No, no time.
No. Have you been to San Diego? I
Yeah,
hear
I
it's
feel
really
like
nice.
yeah. I mean, sometimes I lost a lot earlier than you lose, so I had a little bit more time on tour, you know, to do those things. But
And I guess back then when. What was the last year you played? What was the last year you played?
I played until 2014, but
14. So yeah,
I
okay.
finished right on the peak. I won the last match I won was in doubles against Dominic Thiem and Sasha Zverev, and then I retired right away.
What a highlight!
That was my highlight, basically.
The best way to do it.
And now I'm admiring you guys. I mean, this is like Stefanos. Once I read like you always try to be the best version of yourself. I thought you're talking about tennis, but obviously this is for you. This is like a life thing. You in every part you want to be the best version of yourself.
I want to share a story. It's quite interesting. It was actually here at the Monaco Tennis Academy, right next to the pool. That was 4 years ago. When I was a junior, back when I was a junior, Boris Becky came to the academy. We had this gala, and so Boris Becky came. He was sitting next to me. And after the gala was finished, we were doing an auction, like we were giving away things to be provided for the Champ Seed Foundation, which is a foundation which helps young children financially to support them, you know, achieve their dreams. And I was part of it back then, not anymore. And Boris Becky came, and I remember saying to me that, giving me one piece of advice, which I don't know, I think I'll remember forever. I think. Because back then, you know, I was young, and having advice come out of him was just simply, I don't get the opportunity very regularly. So I remember him telling me, Stefanos, just be the best version of yourself, and I stick to that since that day. Yeah, he told me it's 3 simple words.
So Boris Becker basically gave you that sentence, and you stick to that
advice.
Fantastic.
That is right.
That's a great advice. And Stefanos,
and I do appreciate it. Yeah,
I will tell him because, like,
I mean, when you think about it, you don't really like, okay, be the best version of myself. Like, I'm trying to Am I trying to copy someone else? No, not really. But that puts you in a mindset where you want to go out every single day, practice to get the biggest benefit out of yourself, out of your capabilities, out of your performance on the day, and every single day when you step out on the court.
So this is
and you're in sort of mindset, I can always become better. I can always improve in many ways.
Right now, talking about your tennis, what do you think is the part you could possibly improve most? From me, for a coach, we always talk about technique, physical part, and mental part. This is for me the 4 big parts. Where do you think you have the most potential to improve as a player?
That is a really good question. As you said, technique has been there many years now. Technique is something that you get to keep if you see it keeps you away from injuries, and you have a certain technique. Everyone has a different technique. So for me, it is the technique that I've been always using. It might be sometimes mildly adjusted. I mean, you can see it in a video, for example, 2 years ago, and a video now. It's sort of different.
Mm-hmm.
But in other words, things that I've been trying to improve. Well, right now I think I'm still, for sure, I'm young, and I still have lots of experiences ahead of me to learn. Mentally, I think it's probably one of my biggest strengths as a player when I'm out on the court. The mental part. I think one thing, my speed on the court, how the anticipation when I'm out on the court, I think my anticipation can improve, and I can predict certain things a little bit better. And I just feel like sometimes I can just be more aggressive when my opportunity awaits. There are certain moments in the match where I have the opportunity to take it. I feel like I'm becoming sort of a bit passive, in which case I think it's just being more aggressive and just not over processing and not overthinking what I'm about to do.
I mean, you have a great team. You have a great family. I can say that. I mean, my wife is Greek, so we always kind of followed your way, and like having a great family. Apostolos, your father, like he's there always. What role does he play? What role does your family play? Because I see them like in Melbourne. I saw them traveling with you. It looks nice to see you all together, to be honest.
It is nice. They're very involved in the tennis. They're always there. My mom, she likes to travel. She used to play herself. So my dad is also next to me. Or hasn't missed a tournament, I think, in 8 years or something. So he's very much involved. I have three other siblings, which also try to show up to some of my tournaments, the biggest events. So my family is always around me. Of course, it's good to balance it. Sometimes it's difficult. I've said that in the past. My father, his focus has been shining. Most of his focus has been shining on me.
Yeah.
And that leaves the other kids kind of unattended, I would say. My two younger brothers and my sister. So it is important also for him, as a father, he's a role model for all of us, to kind of spend more time with them as well, I believe. And now it's a great opportunity to do that, I think.
No, it's a great opportunity. Do you give some advice to your little brothers and sisters when they play tennis, or you just like let them do kind of their thing?
I just let them enjoy the game, and if they want to ask me anything they want to ask me, I'm there to give them advice and provide them with information and guidance as well. My second brother, has been asking me a lot lately. He's trying to understand the game better, and I'm there to provide for him and kind of give him an insight of how it is to be in my skin and how I see certain things when I'm out on the court. So I'm trying to help him in a few ways. Right now, he's injured. He has a wrist problem. He's not really playing much, but he's on a rehab, and I think he'll get better over time.
And family, huge role in your career, of course, but also Patrick Mouratoglou. I hit with him a few balls, which was great for me also in Melbourne this year. And we talked.
He plays well, doesn't he?
Yeah,
he hits really well.
No, he hits it well, and he plays technically. He plays very smooth. Like
exactly. Yeah.
He's
smooth
like
arms,
totally committed, and it was a great time. We talked about you, and he said like he never experienced something with you like you're so graceful when you play. For him, it's a different level. He loves to watch you play. Was having a perfect technique and looking good important for you, learning the game, or it just came accidentally in a way? Because it looks smooth the way you play. Probably you know.
You mean learning the game?
No, the way you play, the way you move on the court, it's like it's very graceful. It's like a special way. And Patrick admires that. He told me, So he saw many players over the years. So I wanted to know, how did you get to this point that it looks like so effortless in a way, like it looks easy for you? Was this...
Does it really look effortless? I see Roger Federer, and that looks really effortless, I can tell you that.
No, it looks elegant the way you play. I mean,
elegant? Oh, that's nice, thank you.
I mean, Patrick...
Patrick...
He knows.
With Patrick, we have been working together for over 5 years now, I think, when I joined the academy. But I also like to point out and say that my first coach back in Greece is a very rare case, because I've met a lot of coaches in my life, but him specifically, he was a very classic teaching, kind of very classic way of teaching tennis. Himself, he was playing one-hand backhand. I believe he's one of the best coaches in Greece.
Yeah.
He doesn't really get much credit, and I would like, to thank him that from a young age he taught me the right things that were going to build up my game in my junior years. He was very correct in my development. He was very careful as well. He was not trying to involve and interfere much with my technique, and at the same time he was paying much attention to it. He was the one that encouraged me to play with one-handed backhand.
Okay.
And his way of teaching is just very classic, aggressive way of teaching, and I owe most of it to him.
Okay, so this was like, you would say like in a young age, it's important, like the technical part that you're like,
It is. He put a
very
lot of
clean.
emphasis on the technical part, which was in a way sickening back then thinking about it. But now that I can see myself in this position, I believe it was something that was very, very important.
What age did you feel that you are maybe a little bit better than the other kids? Was it like with 8 years? Was it with 12, 16? When did you find out there might be something special in you?
You know, it all started in the nationals. It all started in the nationals. When I was 9 or 10 years old, I used to play nationals in Greece, tournaments in Greece. And back then, I can say I felt really confident playing some other kids. I knew in a way I was much better than them. I was not, I didn't want obviously to show them that, but I was playing those tournaments knowing that I have some advantages. You know, I have parents that are from the tennis environment. I'm practicing more than them. So it all started from there. Then I started playing Tennis Europe tournaments. Most of them were actually in Germany. I played a lot of Tennis Europe tournaments in Germany and France and Italy. And in the beginning was difficult because the level in Greece was very different to the one that I was supposed to play in the rest of Europe. Yeah. So it took me kind of a little bit to adjust. Well, these matches the easy matches that I used to have in Greece were not anymore easy matches playing in the rest of Europe. So, yeah, working and trying to adjust and trying to perfect my tennis time by time to kind of come to the same level with them. And I was a junior under 14. I think under 14 I was #1 in Europe, which was a good thing, not just for me but also for my country, because it was a long time that we didn't have a junior #1. And I think from there it just confidence and trying to, I think, humility, trying to improve and go to the next level. The next chapter which was the ITF juniors. Before that I played some under 16 in Europe. I think it all just evolved slowly. It didn't just happen rapidly. It's not that just one day I came out there knowing that I belonged there. I built my way up there. And there was a lot of, I can tell you, there were a lot of losses and a lot of doubt. I don't know, because you know, you really take it. Back then when I was young, I thought if I didn't win those matches, I wouldn't be able to make it as a professional. And I was quite wrong in a way, because it wasn't really the case. But in order to get all these wins, in order to get all these trophies and successes, I had to lose a lot to learn from that.
So you would say like sometimes the losses, they hurt, but you learn most of the losses?
I learned from every single one of them. I did a very much analysis after every single loss, trying to figure out why it didn't work out this time, and trying to put just lots of emphasis on maybe technical parts, tactical parts, mental parts as well. Just trying to pay attention to this detail that goes into a match.
I talk a lot to your father sometimes on the tournaments, because it's so interesting to talk to him, all the insights. He always kind of like admired in a way that you were like very perfectionist. You were also very hard to yourself when you lost, because like the losses hurt you a lot and you wanted to get better. And it almost scared him a little bit that you were sometimes too hard to yourself. Would you say it happened occasionally, or you found the right balance for yourself?
Well, right now, I'm mature, obviously. I grow up and I see life differently. I can deal with losses much better, and it's really nice to see that. It's actually pretty true what he says. I used to take my losses really bad, and I was so competitive. I just couldn't accept that I would lose in many ways. I was just get very frustrated with myself. I would just lock up myself in a room and not speak to anyone. It was really bad. I wouldn't say really. It's not I would cry or anything, but I was just really angry and furious and just upset with myself.
Did you blame?
I would blame myself. Yeah, I would blame. I wouldn't blame anyone else. I would blame myself that I'm not just disciplined enough to make it happen.
So no, this is very interesting. Stefanos, one last question, because I know you're very busy. You do a lot of things. Do you have any goals in the near future once we play again? I mean, obviously you won the ATP finals last year. You went up to number 5 in the world rankings. Is there any goals you communicate, or you just want to slowly improve to reach them without talking too much about them?
Well, right now it's really difficult to think of goals because we don't really know when we're going to play again. So
at one point we will, hopefully.
We will, yeah, for sure. At one point we will probably I hope not Australian Open, as many people say.
Yeah.
But current goals not really much of it. But future goals, well, I've been putting a lot of work all these years. I've been putting a lot of work in and just a lot of mental effort in what I'm doing. So I'm a person who I believe, for sure it won't happen straight away, but I'm working to get a Grand Slam title as soon as possible. It's something that I really believe I deserve because I'm playing good tennis. I'm aware of it. I know that. It's just haven't been able to prove that in the last couple of Grand Slams. But it's something that it's a dream that I want to achieve really bad.
Does somebody like you have a favorite Grand Slam, or it wouldn't help, so you take them all how they come?
I don't have a preference, honestly. Any of them would be a dream and something that will really fulfill me. And it's something that I devour.
Stefanos, thanks so much for talking. This was a pleasure. The last question, because Dominic Thiem sent it.
I saw him. He was in the car.
Is there any chance
was he driving?
Is there any chance we see you with short hair soon? You think you
short
would
hair.
You would look great with short hair. That's what Dominic wrote here.
He said that.
Yeah.
Well, I feel it's going to be very difficult with the quarantine thing that's going on right now. I think it could be the opposite of what he wants. me with what's his name? Robin Hood hair.
That's it.
Is it Robin Hood? No. No, it's a Jack Sparrow hair. Sorry,
Jack Sparrow hair is it? Yeah.
Jack Sparrow.
No, Stefanos, thanks so much. It was a pleasure talking to you. If you don't mind, I might call you in 2 or 3 weeks again and we chat a little bit, because everybody's
a pleasure. We can talk about anything. Really.
Okay, so
it can be tennis. It can be what interest do you what interest do you have except tennis?
To be honest, I don't have too many, but like I'm learning with you. I like languages. I heard you start to learn French.
Great.
Is it correct?
Okay, cool. So here's the deal. I'm gonna tune in here every to